Sound check. See. Couldn't see if it was coming. I don't know what the message said, but I guess we'll see. Check, check. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Fastest it's ever been. Still like that or not, though, we'll see. Oh. Audio is low. Yeah, it seemed like it was. Let's see. Input. It's looking good there. Let me check one other spot real quick. Oops, not that. Let's see, device properties. Set. All right, everything should be fine. I'm not sure why it would be super, super low, but it shouldn't be. Remember, it takes a second always to adjust as well. So hopefully, audio will come back up and be a little bit easier. Go and make sure we did the Twitch. There we go. All right. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a weird night. Yeah, I mean, in context, it's a kind of a drop, but I don't know. I mean, it's not surprising. Not super surprising. All right, so first things first. Check out the thing from 7 minutes ago. As virus spreads to more Chinese cities, World Health Organization calls emergency meeting. Did you guys all see Resident Evil? You know, I think it was the last one where they're like, it turns out to be like the scenario where there's the girl in like Japan or something like that. I'm telling you, it's the T virus, man. It's the T virus. It's a real headline, right? As virus spreads. Isn't that crazy? It's a virus that causes pneumonia, so it's not turning people into zombies yet, but it's close, right? Patients have more than tripled and a third person died. So see, I'm telling you, this is, it's the T virus, baby. The T virus. All right, so obviously today U.S. markets were closed. Martin Luther King Day, obviously the volumes are way down. As you can see, there wasn't really too much news-wise going on. Again, we had the BOJ outlook and a monetary policy statement on that one. And that was basically it as far as the day goes. You can see over the last 24 hours, really no movement whatsoever. And again, not necessarily surprising. We had the Sunday night gaps, but then we went back into just basically today's trading. You can see Euro's down 1 pip. Pound is up 1 pip. Dollar yen down 19, minus 111. Aussie is down 21 pips. And again, most of that has come in the last hour. Still, as far as the overall day goes, not necessarily a huge move, 21 pips. Euro pound minus 2, and then pound yen is minus 24 now. Okay. Besides that, really nothing else going on. Now, going into tomorrow, tomorrow is, again, is it stacked with news? No, not necessarily, but we have these WEF meetings. Okay. Again, this is an annual World Economic Forum. Just something I want to bring up as well. Carl mentioned earlier today, and if he's on here, I appreciate him bringing it up, but basically, he mentioned that the IMF lowered, the world GDP. And he's like, that means we'll definitely be moving tomorrow. Or, he said that there could be it'll be interesting tomorrow. And my question for him was, well, what about it would make it interesting? So understand, whenever we have any type of figures about the global economy or anything like that, you got to really you got to really think back, like, how does that affect us? Okay, at the end of the day, does it affect us? Like if we have slowing in the, I don't know, let's say in any of the Asian economies, does that affect the U.S. consumer? Does that affect U.S. companies and earnings and everything else? Very little, typically. Very little. Typically, we are insulated in a lot of different ways. So, something like GDP. I mean, think about it. If the United States, if our GDP is down, stimulate the economy. But how would you stimulate the world economy on a global basis? That's kind of the bigger question, and that's where things are a little bit different. So you got to understand when there's type of um, global figures, like there is no global interest rate. You can't globally stimulate the economy. It just doesn't work that way. So, just kind of be aware of that. That's kind of how it works. So it's not as big a deal. All right. So with that being said, we do have BOJ press conferences tomorrow. That's always kind of an important factor. Average earnings again for the pound. Some manufacturing data coming out of Canada, which again that may have the potential to move the dollar CAD a bit or the CAD yen. And then obviously also we have the Westpac consumer sentiment for tomorrow. So that's really it. Again, not the kind of, I'd say, chock full of nuts type of day. Most of that is coming later in the week. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday have a lot more red news releases. You can see tomorrow is rather bland. Okay. Now, let's look at the scanner. And again, the first day, the scanner is always a little bit kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit bland, right? But one thing you are noticing is where we continued from Friday. This is currently set for the intraday trade. Let me go back and load the layout for chart school. Oh, that's the large chart school. Hold on. This one. There we go. All right, there you go. So you can see it's similar. It's not too much different than with the 4 hours, but you're noticing what do we have here? We have downtrend set up. We have some confirmed. We have some anchor breaks in the Aussie dollar, and again, Aussie dollar is showing us down on the 4 hour, but anchor breaks obviously on the daily and the 1 hour. New Zealand again, pretty much sideways down confirmed across the board, both on a daily, 4 hour, and 1 hour. Swiss you can see is an anchor break on the 4 hour, but basically consolidating sideways down on the other two. Dollar yen, obviously, it was heading up, but we have an anchor break as well as two short signals. So that one is definitely more to the downside. Actually, not surprised with that one. I expected that's what we would see this week. Looking at the Eurobasket, Eurobasket is kind of interesting, right? So versus the Aussie, we have sideways up confirmed, sideways up confirmed, sideways up confirmed, all the way across the board. Kind of an even clean sweep there, and very, very similar with the New Zealand. That one just the Euro New Zealand is lagging slightly. Euro pound, euro dollar, euro CAD, all downtrend setups on a daily basis. So we got to see kind of where they are approaching and where they are at. Euro Swiss, euro yen, again more to the downside. So again, mixed bag. Two-ish up. I would say the euro pound looks like it's starting to swing on the lower time frames, the 4 hour and the 1 hour. But again, for the most part, these other versus CAD, Swiss, and yen, what's considered the weaker currency pairs, all seem like they're gaining versus the euro. Now, Euro monetary policy statement this week, I think, is definitely going to be something important. If they do talk about any type of tightening or loosening or slowing economy or any of those things, that would give us kind of a broader idea of what's happening on a kind of large scale in the European Union. Very, very important. Last time we've had some good numbers out of France, but Germany has been lagging with their numbers. If Germany has a disappointing time, we'll see. That could definitely lead the not only the euro pound, but all the European-based currency pairs could definitely kind of be swinging in a different direction. Okay. Looking at Canadian basket now, the Canadian basket's interesting. We do have two setups currently, with one kind of sideways down confirmed and the CAD yen. We talked about the CAD yen last week. It was getting close to an upper time frame supply zone, and we were talking about getting in with a good short. You can see across the board though it is giving us the kind of signal to the downside. So just something we want to kind of watch out for. See if we have the opportunity to jump into the short. Maybe a failure to go higher situation, maybe a clean pullback. We'll see what we can get out of that. New Zealand CAD, again, kind of a strange hybrid, but again, you can see we have the sideways down confirmed and then the downturn setup. Obviously, Aussie CAD, CAD yen, and you guys can see these are pretty similar, but again, we're swapping the CAD from the two different places. Okay, and again, we have CAD strength versus the Aussie. Right, if these two are going to the downside, but again, they're pulling. Obviously, there's a bit of a pullback because we have the setup situation. Okay, and then again, you guys can see the CAD is swapping back and forth. Aussie basket. All we have there is basically sideways down, sideways down, sideways down confirmed, and then versus the yen, anchor breakdown, but the 4 hour and the 1 hour is already telling us it was a downtrend setup, as well as versus the Aussie CAD, it is pushing down. So we are seeing weakness across the board in the Aussie. In fact, on the scanner, you guys can see it is nothing but red. There is no blue here whatsoever, which is showing us that we have weakness across the board. But most of these, again, you can see on the 4 hour and the 1 hours, we're already starting to see it, as well as versus New Zealand. These have been on a daily basis. These have already been on the weak side. Now, the pound basket, last but not least, is kind of a mixed bag on this one, right? Pound Aussie sideways up, pound New Zealand sideways up confirmed, pound CAD is up, and then bam, we switch into the other gear. Sideways down confirmed, both in the dollar, yen, and Swiss pairs. So kind of interesting there. And again, you're seeing a pullback on the lower two time frames for the pound dollar. They're sideways down. They're sideways up. There's nothing confirmed, nothing big trending. So again, this one is not giving us that pullback yet. And we're starting to see these two guys. Again, this is pulling up. This could be going into an anchor break situation, which again would help us get these two to a downtrend setup. Okay, looks like the pound Swiss is still pushing to the downside with kind of some Swiss power there. All right. The pandemic was playing out in real, right? Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, as far as news wise, there's really nothing, super crazy here. The markets were nothing, nothing going on today. Um, this one too, Macron and Trump agreed on truce on tariffs until year end. When he says year end, what he means is before the election. Just so in case anybody's fooled on that one, I just want to make sure that you guys all know that that one is before election. That's what he means by year end, because again, being able to go into the election with yet another trade deal. Don't be surprised if that one gets settled like the week before or potentially days before, and then that'll be a huge deal, right? That again, there's another trade deal that just came through. So, not necessarily surprised. Nothing else in here really is, again, BOJ is likely, to keep policy unchanged as risks subside. Not surprised. BOJ doesn't do too much. Yeah, you guys will see this one. This is going to become kind of a big deal. Okay, the rate cuts, and again, this is kind of what we expected. Once kind of Brexit was solved, then it's like, okay, well, how do we, um, how do we progress now? Now that we're rebuilding a country, things are going to change. They really, the UK really didn't do too much. The retailer over there, they were keeping basically that currency afloat, keeping that market afloat. But there has to be adjustments now that things are changing. Even if there's a hard aspect, a hard break from things, they'll lose some of the trade contracts. So again, I expected rate cuts over there, and I think the overall market, they expected rate cuts as well. And I think that's where some of the weakness from this came from, to the downside. So we'll see. Not necessarily surprised by that one. But besides that, you can see really not a whole lot else standing out there besides this, this trade deal agreement. And that's kind of it, right? And like I said, a lot of this is going to be going into tomorrow. Scanner wise, like I said, some interesting setups. Again, remember, even though it's Monday, you have to treat tonight like it's the first day of the week because, again, U.S. money, U.S. dollars was not online today, and yeah, it was closed. All right, so let's just dive right in the charts. All right. So I have a lot more to do today with chart-wise. I'm going to be reloading all these templates because I don't know if you guys can see that or not on your screen. I can see it on mine, right? I'm trying to figure out how to get it moved a bit. Oops. There we go. I'm going to try to figure out how to get it moved a little bit. Matt's actually working on that because I hate when it's right in the middle. It's a little bit distracting. And again, it's like you can't read it when it's like this. I prefer if it was, down here or maybe, I think down here. I'd prefer it underneath just so we can see it a little bit better. But anyway, Twitch is broken. Oh yeah. Hold on one sec. Let's see if I see what you're typing. Let's see. Looks like YouTube could be broken as well. I'll tell you what I'll do. So it could be that this is a restream issue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, if you guys can hear me still, what I'm going to do is I am going to drop the stream real quick and then just restart it again. And All right, so we are back. I can see it updating. I can see it on both, so you guys should be able to see it now with no problems. I'm using the Twitch app. Yeah, you should be able to see it. No, it was lagged on both. So, all right. So I can see it. So again, you guys can see that there's the watermark in the back now because Lindo in his old eyes couldn't tell what chart we were on, but I can see it now, so you guys should be able to see it. So, let me bring this over here, make this a little easier to see there. All right, so starting with Aussie dollar, we'll try to pound through these pairs as fast as we can. Obviously, anchor break to the downside. So cranking this up to a 4 hour, you can see on a 4 hour, we had a little bit of a pullback, but not too much in there. You can see over the last little bit here, not too much movement. If you zoom in, again, you guys can see that we had kind of a pullback right into an area here. Now, it didn't qualify for the actual scanner, but you'll see again, what did it do? It came right back up, and this was actually a tested zone before. Pushed it down, nice movement away, and if you go across from the bottom of this body, you can see that that's what we hit and pulled right back down again. So, interesting place where we are right now. Again, it is an uptrend with an anchor break to the downside. We do have some bouncing across. You can see this is not a bad area on the 4 hour. It was formed with many candles, though, so that's the one thing that I necessarily don't like about it. It was also formed back in December 18th. So again, a bit ago, right? And again, we skirted along the top side of it, and that's where we're getting. So we are in a potential situation where we will have a kind of a launching point here and a potential long trade. Even though it is an anchor break, I do see that we could have some switching on this one. We need to get a little bit lower. I don't think this is where we're going to turn. As you can see, it's barely grazed the top of this zone down here in this zone. Where are we at? Let's see. At 68.50 or 68.49.3 is kind of where we're going on this one. Again, this is on the 4 hour. Okay, we are no type of, it's just a downtrend. But again, we're looking for a switch. For those of you that actually purchased the app today, again, the way that you use some of the tools, I figured it'd be the easiest. The easiest way to do it would be to, again, show you. So as you guys can see in this lower right-hand corner down here, okay, this lower right-hand corner is kind of the toolbar that is established for the indicator. Okay, so if you have that, one of you say, okay, well, what does this trade look like? Well, it's very, very simple. If you click the R, hit Control, click this zone, it will automatically draw the risk of reward. So you're not actually needing to use the fib tool, and with the augmented fib tool to show your risk to reward ratio. So here's a potential setup if you're looking to take this one long. Not a bad zone. The risk on it is rather small. You're talking about 10 pips on that one, entering at 68.49 and exiting at 38.38. Your 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, as you can see, is literally at the top of this red, which is not actually a bad place. We know that price has been up to there, as well as the second one just happens to be where price is here. All right, so you're 3-to-1, you're 5-to-1. Not a bad little trade setup. And again, you'll never see the numbers. I have to lean in to be able to see the numbers on this one, so there's nothing I can do about that. All right, and that's sitting on a 4 hour basis. And again, if you're getting 10 pips risk on a 4 hour chart, not too bad of a trade setup, right? I'm in app on Droid, works okay. Log in and out. Yeah, you may just have to shut it off and re-enter it again. Sometimes that is what it needs to fix itself. Okay, so that's what we're looking for on the Aussie trade. Looking at Aussie New Zealand. So Aussie New Zealand is in a sideways down pattern. Okay, it is not necessarily confirmed. That's on the daily. On the 4 hour, uptrend setup, and then on the hourly, sideways up confirmed. So again, looking at your pattern here, that was probably done on the lower time frame. Yeah, that was probably done on this one. Yeah, this is one of the gaps. This is one of the gaps that didn't work. As you can see, price drove all the way back up to it, and I was kind of torn on this one. I was like, oh, we're so close. It's like, do we take it for a long? And if had it open just a little bit lower, I would have took this on the long side. Again, we waited for it to come up, and it literally just went sideways back and forth and really didn't do too much. So this is actually one of the ones from, it was a -5 pip loss, had you guys taken that one off the weekly news report. So really nothing going on there, and again, nice little pop up, but it's basically just sideways in there, right? All right, so that's what we have going on here. Not really, probably. I'm not going to take this long. Yes, the indicator is showing that we have a zone here, but that's actually a retest off of this prior zone, which is actually not a bad little zone. That zone actually starts down here at 103.90 down to 103.85. Besides that, again, this one has been, had a nice little retest and then touch again. That may actually be an area that we bounce off of. Wouldn't be horrible. And again, this is on a 30-minute chart. So it's a rather small chart. It's not bad. The spread on this one is 1 right now, so it's nothing too crazy. I still think of these two that we have remaining, this zone, although it was a big kind of taking off point, Price did not explode out of this zone here, so not necessarily my favorite. I think I prefer this one down here at the lower level, down here at 103.67. So for me, a small trade would be set up here, and then another one a little bit farther down here. I'll probably skip this zone, just because although it did come down, it did not leave in fast fashion, and it was again, I typically like a little bit more of an explosion, something like this, a little bit more of a confirmation, and this did not really have it. Okay, so that's what we're looking for here. Let's jump across the yen. All right, so the yen looks like it's a gigantic move to the downside. We're talking about 30 pips in what, an hour and a half. So again, compared to what we normally see right now on say like a Sunday night, it does look like a big burst. And again, that could be for any number of reasons. It didn't quite make our entry to the downside. As you guys can see, we had the green ones up here up top. Let me turn this off. Okay, so it gets a little bit busy up here, but we ended up coming back up again, hitting that zone here. So let me remove this one. Oh, it's not going to let me do it now. Come on. I forget which chart we did this one on. Did we do it on a 4-hour? Yeah, probably. Yeah, that was a 4-hour done. So I'll remove that guy. Got some space on this. Let's remove that. Let's clean this up and keep it moving. All right, so as you can see on the 4-hour, right? Let's go to a daily real quick to reset the app. All right. The only thing we have really below us, again, you can see this level of basing right here in the middle. You know what I'm see it. All right, so you guys see this level of basing right here in this section right here. So it's one area that we're kind of looking for. But again, whenever anything spends a lot of time in one area like that and then just tends to move sideways, you always got to be a little bit cautious of it, right? So yes, we did get a nice burst out, but it literally went what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 candles sideways in a small area. So you got to question whether that's the best area or not. At this point, literally the best entry would have been 4 hours ago when this thing pulled back into this 4-hour demand zone. I'm sorry, the 4-hour supply zone and shot to the downside. A little bit harder to see there. As you guys can see, that's more what it looks like. And again, same situation, okay? You'd be marking off an area right here, okay? This would go to the top right there. All right, and again, there's your entry, there's your bottom, and again, if you guys didn't know, I can also use the same tool, and I can click here. I can do the same thing. I can click anywhere. I don't need to actually have it set it up. Okay, so you can see on this one, there was your 3-to-1, and actually there's your 5-to-1. It's off slightly. It would come down a little bit, but again, had you been able to take that one, there's your 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. What I mean by the clicking part of it, guys, is if I just hit Control click here, it automatically does it for me, right? But if I click somewhere like say here, it just gives me this, and then I have to double click and then adjust it accordingly. Okay, so there's an automatic function, or you can put it anywhere that you want, and then I can move it and do whatever I want with it. All right. But there would have been your, I mean, Linda, you're asking what it was. Well, I mean, we were in a downtrend setup situation coming across here. Okay. Now, areas where we could potentially stop. Okay, is this the end? Will it turn? Will it go long now? Here's what you're dealing with. This is the pattern that I absolutely love, right? Here's the wick, here's a higher wick, here's a higher wick. So for me, we have an area like this of buyers in that area. Let me change this from yellow. Something not as bright. That's fine. All right, so that would have been a target. Okay, you would have had your entry here based off of this 4-hour supply zone. It pulled back up, it retested, it went down, and then ended up banging right off your target. Now this one should have been there. Okay, that's where your target is. And again, you guys can see it literally the wick, it literally bounced right off of it. Went in a little bit, body ended, stopped, and turned. So big question is now, will it break through the bottom side? Now, some of you may say, well, hey, listen, it breaks through this, so should we be going short in this one? Yeah, this would typically be a Harry Potter-based setup, right? We're waiting for price to come through and then retest back up again. But the problem is we do have a zone right below it. And even on the 4-hour, you're only talking about 16 pips before we hit another supply zone. So this is not a candidate for a Harry Potter to go through, come up and retest and go a little bit farther. If we break through this zone, then yes, then we have a little bit more down run here to go through, but right now not so much. I'd move on and find something else if you were not short in this position already. Okay, so not too much in the Aussie yen. Looking at Aussie CAD, this is one of those ones. you guys can see on this one. Was it this? Let's see. Which one did I do it on? Did I do it on hourly? Yeah, I must have done that one on the hourly. Yep. Here's the gap, guys, and you can see boom, respected here, respected here, respected here. Came back up, hit the same area again, and then dropped away and dropped away and dropped away and dropped away. And what did it do? I mentioned this zone here is where we're looking for this thing to potentially stop, and you can see what did it bounce off of. Price went down and touched it almost exactly, right? So let's delete this one off, clean this up a little bit. Where is it? The hardest thing. It's so much easier to grab the other ones. I hate when I have to do this. This is one of the things I do like the new app better. I know there's a way to select it, but all right. So this is what we have going on. All right, so the app has grabbed the large area on the 4 hour. I wouldn't necessarily say that that would be the best area. It would still be the grab based off of the gap up here that we kind of pulled up and tested. You're not going to be able to tell too much. Again, like I said, we've had this area that I've used as a target now at this point on the way down. Looking at it on a 1 hour, again, this gets a little bit busier. I was trying to tweak the settings on this one, but again, they're not necessarily bad levels. Very nice level here, very strong push away. Again, this was a great level. It pushed away, came sideways, and then retested the level. This one, I believe, is a retest of this wick over wick, so this one I would ignore in this kind of piece right here. And besides that, again, we do have a downtrend setting right here. You guys can see we have a downtrend set up on the 1 hour. It was pulling back. It was going to an area of basing, but unfortunately, again, we're running out of room. Downtrend set up with no room to the downside. Again, the green is the indicator. The peach color or whatever is kind of the refinement of that zone that I pulled to the downside just a bit. And again, I'm testing another version of the indicator tonight. And again, it may actually change this one around to go back a little bit to the left. That was one of the things that we were talking about before. It did not go. So if we do break this zone, then again, let's see. We got about 30 pips to the downside with about 7 pips risk. So we do have a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio trade to the downside with a potential target down here. And that would look like this. We'll take this to here. All right. As you can see, if we set that up here, right, even if we set it off this higher zone, you guys can see 3-to-1, 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Okay. If you set it off of the zone that I drew, okay, and again, we want to break a pullback, and that'll be our risk level. Here's your 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Here's your 5 just inside the demand zone on the opposing side. So still not a bad. I like the blue, but I think you guys can see white better. Let me see. Maybe. I'm trying to find one that it's easier for you guys to see. Maybe you guys can see that one better. Sure. I'm torn on that one, but you guys can see where it is. I don't even remember which blue it was. I think it was Dodger blue. That one kind of glows on my charts, but I don't know if it's easier to see or what. Oh, yeah, hold on. I forgot. Mr. Old Eyes can't see it. There you go. But again, we lost our draw. You guys can see the draw is now missing. Okay. Aussie cat. I feel you put it out. Indicator up as far as the tutorial goes. A lot of it has to do with this piece down here. The B is for backtesting. So what backtesting means is when the backtesting is selected, if you hit shift, oops, if you hit shift and go back, that's where the indicator was at any given amount of time. Okay, and again, I would not have picked that. I would not have picked that one either. That was where the gap came back again. But you guys can see kind of, that's what the B stands for. Okay, that's backtesting. Old zones get canceled out. Again, you guys can see where this one moves. I don't use that one as often. R is the risk reward ratio tool. Okay. The T is localized time. So when you hit T, and move this, you guys will see at the bottom, you see the yellow moving around at the bottom like a race, like a little rabbit. It will show you what the actual time was locally based. So you could say, hey, listen, what about this right here? Well, I could say, well, that was on January 12th, right? That was a gap candle based over the weekend between the 10th and the 12th. And that's what you can see down here at the bottom, okay? And then there's the V. This is the previously violated zones. It's something I don't talk about at chart school a lot, but again, for those of you that are a little bit more advanced, you guys know that a lot of times when we have a situation where we have an old supplier demand zone that was violated in the other direction, it tends to become a new area. So you can click that and kind of see. In this case, you see right here, boom. Do you see what's popping up? This was the start of an old zone. And yes, it got broke here, but what did it do? It came up and that's where it retouched over here. Now, typically you're looking for it on the other side, but you can see that there's an old area. You guys see where they came up at? See how that one just went short from that same area? So there's something special about that area. Okay, typically you're looking on the other side, but there is kind of on a retest, there is another way to trade that one. Okay. Typically you don't have this much chop through an area back and forth. But again, you would catch it on the downside to the other side. All right. But yeah, I'll do a video on how to use those all correctly and how to install the different indicators that I have up here. It's in the works. Most likely the platform is going to be changing, or the website, the back end, not the website, but I guess it is a website, but the back end will be changing probably in 20 days. So it's one of those things I need to make sure I have all the content across to the Thinkific site because that's much easier to use. Okay. I'm going to go back to Aussie yen right here. All right, so we're in that zone now. Okay, so that's good. All right, let's drop this down to hourly, see if we get anything a little bit clean on there. Okay. So it's moving, and one of the nice things about this is the fact that we have a wick over wick now established. Still not ready to take it short. Again, like I said, there is an area right here. You're only talking about 24 pips from the break of this level, and establishing a risk level may be a bit difficult in here because, again, this is where your level of basing was based off the hourly. Looking at it on the 30-minute, yeah, on the 30-minute, and again, I don't use fuchsia, it's because of this zone here. That's what we have on the 30-minute right now. Here, and again, that's where you're getting the wick over wick here on the hourly. And again, that's a nice little wick over wick. That is the perfect when both the wick on both when the wick on both sides is exactly even. Those are the perfect ones. So it's an area we'll have to mark off. And again, you guys don't have it yet. Again, it's too soon right now to do much with it. But again, you're going to want to mark that area off. Use that one later, particularly if we come and bounce here. All right, but that's what we're looking for. I mean, you look to the left, right where price is. A little bit of a pullback here. There's a little single wick right here, a little single wick, and again, a little bit slower to the downside. But again, this is an area that has been tested. It pushed away, came back and retested this candle. So we know that there are buyers sitting in this area down here at 70, right at 75, because it's 75.02. Yeah, the size of wicks matter. Oh, you mean if it was a wick over wick where like this red candle's wick came all the way up to here and this one came all the way down to here, yeah, it's too big. You want them somewhat smaller. This is I don't know if you can see it clearly or not, but that's really a perfect example where it's kind of even on both sides inside of a pullback. Yeah. Yep. I have that function in this one. I don't know. I think I have that on this. Are you talking about the X-ray tool? That one? Can I chart that one? Larry, I probably can at the end. Sure, I can try. No, the rightmost button. This one? Is that the one you're talking about, Matt? Or are you talking about the violated one? Yeah, I mean this is the 4-hour zone. I'm assuming that's what you meant. Yeah. No, the rightmost button. Yeah. That's no higher. This is the 4-hour. That's the daily. Yeah. Yeah, I don't use that one as much. Back and forth. All right. Um, let's see where we at. Swiss. Mm, really not too much going on in the Swiss. Like I said, a little bit of a gap. We're still approaching this demand zone down here. Again, that's on the 4 hour. Let's just drop this to an hourly. See if we have a clear. Nothing in range, right? Nothing in range down there. So again, we'd be using the 4 hour on this one. So what you're able to see here again, part of the reason why you're not able to see anything on the lower time frames is because of this candle right here. This extremely long wick and very, very, I would say very small body, but it's a body that's much, much smaller than the wick. This one right here. Okay, that's messing up a lot of the analysis, particularly for the tool. So we have to go back and go below that. And when we do go back, you guys can see that this is what we have formed. Okay, a little bit of basing here, nothing, but this is where the pop, whoops, sorry, I forgot to do that automatic function. Okay, that's where the pop actually occurred. And again, great place for a profit target. Don't know if I would necessarily take a long off of that area. But again, if you were type of short any type of position right now, again, that's where you probably want to get out with your profit. Now, if we do get a turn in this area and we do get a reversal and we get a green candle, a red candle, and a green candle coming out of this area, then it's definitely a potential long trade for you. But right now, by the way that this is chopped up at the lower highs, I don't really like it too much. Again, we are in somewhat of a channel to the downside. You can see higher low, higher low. I'm sorry, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, and we're about to push through a lower low. So we are somewhat forming that trend channel to the downside. But again, it's into an area of demand, so there's not really too much we can go into this one. But if we get a hit and we do get that green, red, green, again, we have all this basically this geography here to overcome. But not a fan of this one right now. If you guys have access to Singapore, here is the Singapore on the Aussie Singapore on a daily. As you can see, we were sitting inside of daily demand. Now it's gone about 50% of the way through and then pop back up again. And that's where we're sitting right now. Dropping down to a 4 hour chart, you can see it is still recognizing the same zone. And again, not a bad pop. I would probably adjust it down to take advantage of this zone over here and not this pop. I would use this pop back here. So it is just a slightly bit lower. And again, if there's a long opportunity here, this would probably be where it is coming in at. This is mine. Let's do this real quick. Bam, there we go. All right, so you guys can kind of see where we're at. That way, that one adjusted back a little bit more. And I'd actually probably lower just slightly as well. But that's where we're sitting inside of the 4 hour. So again, it doesn't matter what the trend is right now. We are sitting inside of a demand zone if you have the ability to trade this one on the 4 hour. And again, just to review, click the R, hit control, and bam, there you go. As far as the actual trade setup itself, not really a horrible kind of, again, 3 to 1 is right up here, right below this push down, and then your 5 to 1 is right before the larger demand zone, or I'm sorry, the larger supply zone. As you can see, that's the indicator saying that this is a powerful enough move that it recognized it. And look, on the way up, it's sitting right there for the target. So not a bad one. Again, like I said, I want to see if this is going to hold. I would actually have this a bit lower in over here in these candles, is where I would put it. Okay. But I know not every platform has this one. So that's Aussies. Let's go into the CADs. CAD yen. Okay. So there's a 30-minute CAD yen. Actually, this would have been. Wait, erase that. There you go. So there's what your 30-minute actually looks like. And again, remember, guys, whenever you click on a time frame, if you're seeing price cut through candles, go to the higher time frame so the indicator can actually pull the data and then come back to it. Okay. Because again, sometimes it needs to refresh its data. In this case, that was the case. Now, 30-minute. Check out this move, guys. This is one I did not catch. Again, I was making dinner with the boys. Again, spent a lot of time there, but again, marked it off clearly from the bottom of the body. Again, risk to reward tool. In this case, I think you'd actually be out of this trade now. Yeah, you'd be out. The 5 to 1 actually just got hit as well. So not a bad little grab if you're able to do it. Again, coming up into here, it just literally rode this zone left, or to the right, popped a little bit higher, and then boom, just collapsed through the bottom. So again, great little setup on this one. I did not catch this one in the CAD yen, but we were talking about it. One of the things in the CAD yen we were talking about was this kind of top side of things and finding the actual kind of the peak for it. We actually didn't. It's not drawn, but you guys can see that we had this little piece up and it fell through. Let's see. Did we set it up on an hourly? I don't remember what we set it on. Yeah, there was your entry on that one. So. Here, I'll actually, I think you should be able to see this. Let's see, make it a little bit bigger. All right, so there was what we set up on the hourly. Okay, here's an example of why you would use the backtest tool. Right, where was it? Oh, it was over here. That's why. It was this far. But anyway, yeah, so you guys can see here was the entry, there was your exit. for stop loss, and it went all the way to the bottom side. So again, still not a bad little trade setup. Boom, there you go. Now we're set up on the 30. Didn't take this one. Now, big move to the bottom side. I expect this will go a little bit further. Guys, looking on the 30-minute on this one, you can see that right now, looking to the left, we are inside of a situation where we had a bit of a racetrack. I mean, price did spike down to where we are right now, right? But below that, we have nothing until we get back down to, what is this? 84.05. Okay. So like I said, I think we're going to end up going down to 84.05, and then we'll kind of play it by ear from there. Do I love that one for a reversal? Let's see. Yeah, it's 84.02. That's actually not a bad little zone. Again, we had a very, very nice strong move off of that one. But again, we are going the opposite direction. So it may be better to wait for a burst and then take that short to the downside. Again, you can see this is a failure to go higher situation. If you're looking at this one on the daily, right? There would have been your entry right there. You guys can see it hit and went all the way to the downside. I think that's what we had marked off originally, right? This 4 hour one to the downside. So yeah, I do really like that for a target if you guys are in the position now. And looking past that, a little bit of basing here. I'm not concerned about this one. This drove lower. That drove lower as well. That one's ugly. Geez, man, a lot of these are lower. Look at this. This came lower here. We have a double, and then this one came this spike all the way down. Man, we don't really have anything clean to way down here. This one's got a pretty far distance to actually collapse. Yeah. Again, I think we're going to have to wait for kind of pullbacks and nice little pieces like this. Going to the downside, I think we're going to need these things to pull back and then punch through these zones. This is a very, very boring zone, but again, it spent time there and it put in higher lows. So again, we got to be, you got to respect the buyers in that area. Okay, so again, we got a lot of move there. Let's see what we got going for CAD Swiss. Boom, there's your CAD Swiss move. Again, CAD Swiss, guys, also you see this drop sideways and drop again. That would have been your entry on this one. The indicator didn't pick it up. Let me see if no, it was unable to pick that zone up. Okay, did not pick that one up. But again, the zone that I'm talking about is the drop, the sideways and the drop. Again, nice little area right there. Okay, and you guys can see that's where your zone would have been. It pulled back up again. Now again, this one did come up, touch the gap, and continue to push higher, but it went right to a basing level. Very, very clean basing level. Drop, sideways, big push through, pull back up, tickled it, and dropped to the downside. And again, if you were looking to set this one up risk to reward, again, remember, this is a hand-drawn zone, not an automatic one, so I need to click it and then drag it up. And as you guys can see, there would have been your 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio trade off of that one. There's your 3-to-1. There's your 5-to-1. It's continuing to push lower. And again, your 5-to-1 was right where the price gapped. I would have probably stuck a target here just right after that. And the reason why is because that's the last time we really saw a concerted push to the top side. You would have been looking at about 6.5-to-1 on that one, maybe 7-to-1. But it looks like we are going to go all the way back down and pop this bottom target. So not a bad little level. Missed this one. This one would have been, what, 2.5 hours ago, 3 hours ago, that you guys could have got into this one. And that was dinner time for me. All right. So, again, that was the manually drawn level. Again, you could have had this level drawn last week. Actually, I guess not last week. That would have been, let's see, about 2 o'clock. About 2 o'clock, you guys could have had that. All right. And again, not everybody's not looking at CAD Swiss, but had you been, there you go. Let's drop down and look at Swiss pairs. Again, let's pop this one higher. All right, so as you guys can see, this is something we off the daily. Yeah, there's the daily zone. As you guys can see, the indicator has this one marked off on the top side. We were talking about it last week, that the here was our entry. Now, this is the one going into Thursday night. I said you may or may not want to hold this one over the weekend. That I don't really necessarily like holding them over the weekend, particularly something that has the Swiss in. But again, we also talked about I would refine this zone. I would not have used the indicator mark zone. I would have used this refine zone up here with these two levels. We did get entry. It was very, very close, but you did get entry. It pierced just above that level, and then has since pulled away to the downside. It was right at, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. You guys can see right here, down at 113.51 is your 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So we literally just missed it. The low of this candle came down here at 131.54. So we missed it by 3 pips to the downside, that 3-to-1 risk reward ratio trade. It's right there. It's super, super close. You guys can see how close it is here. Right, gives you a little bit better, but you guys can see the red. I hope you guys can see it. The red is above the green line, so you definitely would have got entered in this trade. This was a pretty nice one, especially if you held it over the weekend. It's an 86-point move to the downside. Right now, you'd be up about 75 pips in that one. You'd obviously have no risk in this trade, but again, this was a Thursday night chart school setup that we talked about, bouncing off a daily zone as well as a 4-hour. But you can't see it here, but you can. The indicator is not picking it up on the 4-hour. But you can see it here. And what we did is we dropped down and we refined it and made it a little bit smaller to lower our risk. And that's where we got the nice little entry. And again, this is those situations where could you take the whole zone and be a bit more aggressive? Yes, you absolutely could. But in this case, we went down the lower time frame. We were able to find a little bit more of a conservative entry, lowered the risk level. And again, we're already at 3-to-1. 86 pips is a great way to start off your week. And that's literally right where we're at right now. I saw that one, but I hate the CAD. I hate for the CAD. It's hard, right? It's hard. Lindo, I'm not going to put the watermark on this one until this trade completes, because otherwise it'll erase all the drawings on it. But again, this is the Swiss yen. Swiss yen. Yeah. And again, I think actually Ernest took this one. Ernest, you took this one from last Thursday, right? And like I say, guys, this was a chart school setup, but I'm not going to watermark this one until it completes, because then it writes over it. All right, so that was the only Swiss one in there. Let's go look at the Euro ones. So we will start with Euro. Oh, let's go to Euro Aussie so I don't mess this thing up. All right, Euro Aussie. We'll go in here. Let's see. I had those 2 zones sitting there, but I'll go ahead and blow those up. You guys can see kind of where we're at. There's a bunch of stuff on the 30-minute, but we will watermark that one so he can see it. All right, you guys can still see it. Basically, I had zones up in that level. So a lot of stuff going on in the 30-minute. Okay, here we go across on the hourly. Then go to the 4-hour so we can adjust this one. So you can see this is where we're sitting right now. Price has rallied up over the last hour, and we are sitting inside of an area that has basically been tested one time to the downside. Now, interesting call on this one. Okay, as you can see, we have one zone, and then we have another zone, and then we have another zone right on top of each other. So many things on the 1 hour that we could trade. Looking at it on the 4-hour, you can see there's not as clean on the 4-hour, but if I had to mark off a zone, I would kind of mark off somewhat of the same level, right? I love the way that these 3 wicks are heading to the downside. I love that piece right there. I'd have to put my zone right about there. Okay, right about there, which would give me an entry here of around 161.90. Now, this is something that you could absolutely try to put something on for overnight into the morning with Nadex, if you don't like the spot currency risk on this one. Actually, I guess you couldn't. It's Euro Aussie. So again, this would only be a spot currency risk. Now, this one's a little bit bigger. This one is about a 27 pip risk area. Now, it's a little bit harder to kind of look at, right? So you can see there's a small zone here as well as another one right above it. So in this case, I would probably have to say, again, it depends on how conservative or how risky you want to get on this one. I'd probably put myself there. Let's see. If we go to there, if we use that top one, we're talking about 14 pips risk. I'll just delete it so it's fit. And the reason why I'm saying this is, yes, this one has been tested. Okay, this, though, is kind of a reaction off the lower side of this zone. Okay. Unfortunately, all 3 of these are pretty nice little zones here, and it's just really about how aggressive you want to get into it. Like I said, I love how this came back up and got front run. We did push a little bit higher. It did push back off of here a little bit, which means there's obviously some buying pressure up below this because it did pull back and then pushed higher. This one, same thing. This one pushed. It was a failure to go higher situation, pushed down, and was unable to get back to it. So again, this middle area is also nice, but this top one, again, this top one actually should be considered part of this area, not this. It should go to the left. Actually, I like the middle one the best, I think. If I had to pick, I'd say I like the middle one the best as far as a turning point. Big question is this one going to give us enough sticking point that we do form a sideways base? In which case, that would show us that there are buyers lining up right below where current price is, which may make any type of short target a little bit difficult, okay? Yeah, I would not use this base, FYI. This little one right here. This one, I'm going to have to adjust the settings on this one too. Yeah, I'd say the middle one. If I picked anything, it would be the middle one. I'd be looking at something probably along those lines, if anything else, okay? But I don't necessarily, I'd rate this one as a B. not my favorite. Let's go to this guy. This one had a lot of good stuff back here, but we'll blowing it up for Lindo. He says he never wins anything, but now he's winning everything. All right. So you guys can see we had a 30-minute zone that we bounced off of earlier. Again, you guys can see we were a downtrend setup, but do we want to take downtrend setups in areas of buyers? The answer is absolutely not, right? We don't do that, right? Again, we only want to do that when we have a pullback and clear running room. We did not have clear running room here, and you guys, you can see, yeah, it's downtrend setup, but we just bounce off of an area of buyers, so it's a big no-no. So looking at this one, a 4-hour, EuroCAD is considered a downtrend setup right now. So again, we're still in the same situation, but you can see we did bounce off that level. You can't see it as much on the 4-hour. The daily, you can see it, that we're kind of wedged in, right? So yes, right now we have a downtrend setup even on the weekly, as you guys can see in the upper right-hand corner over here. Yes, daily and weekly, we have a downtrend setup, but what do we have sitting right below where we are? Okay, we have a demand zone. So if anything in this one on the daily basis, again, you know that we're looking to really kind of get longs more than anything else. The 4-hour, there's not a whole lot that's clear here. Like I said, there's a bit of a zone here. I mean, aggressively, could have taken it like this. Okay, I did not do it, especially with the weekend and everything. You could have done it something like this, but again, it still may try to push through again, because look, this is 1, 2, that was number 3. Okay, number 3. So if it pushes again, this zone is not going to hold. So I don't know if I would have necessarily taken a long off of that one. Again, I think I'm going to wait till it gets a little bit lower. You still have some room to run, but not too much. I mean, you're only talking about 30 pips to the downside, so not a lot there. Again, like I said, I want to see a full day of trading, get some U.S. At least let's get some U.S. data back in there, because again, what happens in the U.S. market will affect these other two currency pairs. And again, it'd be nice to see what happens with Canadian information. No setup on that guy. Let's go to Euro Swiss. So Euro Swiss, our entry is still sitting there. Again, this is on the daily. You guys can see that we had this one set up last week using the fib tool instead. It just kind of flatlined, right? It hasn't moved in basically 2 days, but we're still looking for an entry on the daily down here at 107.10 and kind of holding firm with that one. Looking at the 4-hour, you can see again, those green lines are still sitting there. Here's where our entry was. Again, price is just stuck. It's stagnant. And again, we marked this white loan off as a wick over wick. Yeah, we're stuck. Not too much we can do right now, right? Until this moves a little bit lower. So again, you guys should have this one marked off on the 4-hour. 107.10 is where you're looking at on that one. Up to be able to find that one again. All right. I'm just marking it off on the other ones since we. Yeah, he said this, guys, one click of a button and you are good. Right? One click of a button. Gotta love that. That's Euro Swiss. Let's go to Euro Pound. All right, so no drawings I'm gonna worry about. Pop trend state on. Time is good. All right, so obviously we had a nice little kind of drop and then bounce out of this one, okay, and that happened last week. Since that time, though, we've really just been kind of going sideways on the daily, okay. Looking down on a 4-hour, okay, you can see here, again, what have we been doing? We've been bouncing back and forth, and actually, we would not have drawn it here. Remember, we talked about this last week. It's kind of right where this Euro Pound is actually at. There's wicks here. There's a little bit of a pullback here. I think we can see it on the hourly. We can see it on. That's where we could see it. Yeah, you guys see it right here? See this red candle? Actual zone is. That white line is. But you guys can see, this is one of those ones that it didn't look far enough left, okay? Right, kind of right where the zone is. Bouncing high, we were bouncing low. We came back up to this middle point, came back down again, all the way back up, and it's tried to push back down again. So again, it's grabbing zones pretty interesting, right? I mean, this one is obviously pushing lower. This one pulled back, grabbed the orders here at the start of this move, and used itself to propel higher. Came back up, grabbed some more, pushed down, came a feather to go higher, grabbed this selling zone right here, and then boom, pushed back down again. What did it do? It went over and grabbed the start here and pushed back up. It gapped over the weekend, came over, grabbed the basing level here, and pulled back down again. So we are definitely consolidating back in again, looking for some type of a spike, top or bottom. I think the European monetary or the Euro monetary policy notes this week could definitely send this one higher or lower. The ATR on the 4-hour is only 15 minutes, so it's definitely consolidating back up again. I mean, again, you can see some big trends here, and literally very, very small. This week, as far as news goes, Tomorrow, there's really nothing. Tomorrow is basically all CAD news on Wednesday. I mean, there's a lot of CAD news tomorrow. Um, Thursday is when we have that main financing or refinancing rate and the monetary policy for the euro, and that's at 7:45 a.m. Eastern. So I think that's the day to figure this one out, top or bottom. I'm hoping we are at this top side or bottom side by then because we could get into a potential Nadex trade before the actual monetary policy statement comes out as the market prepares for what they're going to say. This is kind of a perfect opportunity because it's not necessarily a data release as far as numbers go. But again, any type of hawkish or dovish language in there will send this thing flying. And if we're already standing in a zone, that stacks the odds in our favor to have it kind of go, one way or the other. All right. But besides that, there's not really too much in here that, I'm in love with as far as this pair goes. Like I said, even on the 30-minute, you guys can see that, again, why did it turn here? Look back, it's into this zone, okay? And what did this do? Came back and grabbed the gap and kind of it's stuck right at the 30-minute gap, all right? So just really no momentum in that one. Looking at Euro Yen. All right. So what did Euro Yen do? It came right back up to the spacing level, as you guys can see it. This zone only grabbed the wick. It didn't grab the actual body. I'm not sure why it didn't grab the actual body in that case. Why it grabbed just the wick. That one should have grabbed the entire body of that one, but that one should look like this there. And actually, it looks like you would have needed it to grab the whole candle. But yeah, it was close. You guys can see it tried to push up and it didn't quite get there. I would have gotten it there. So I would not have gotten an entry in this one either. But again, this one pulled up. Euro Yen right now on the scanner is giving us a sideways down confirmed on the daily. So even looking at a 4-hour, we're looking for any type of a pullback situation. And you see that we missed that little pullback here, but besides that, it's kind of smooth sailing. There's a gap here down to this level. We got some room to run, but really nothing, there's nothing really in our way at this point to the downside. But there's also nothing really great that I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I love that one. Really, that this one here is probably about the only thing that was really great as far as a pullback goes. And again, we would move this back to this market there. So again, you would not have gotten an entry here. You would have gotten your entry here. And again, that's based off the 4-hour. Let's see, how much is that risk? Yeah, it's only 7 pips risk. So again, on a 4-hour chart, that's not a bad risk level, right? And again, that's a wick over wick. We don't have that setting in the indicator right now. Hold on. Let's see, get this adjusted correctly. There would have been your, whoops. There would have been your setup. On that one. But again, to base drop on a lower time frame. Here we can see it because it's a wick over wick. It did pull back, it did hit it, and again, it did push back down. Its second attempt. Excuse me. Excuse me. It did not get as high. So again, you would not have gotten a second entry. You would need it on the first one. Now, whether you would have held this one for a 5-1 is entirely up to you. I don't believe so. I think most people would have gotten themselves out on this one on a 3-1. It makes more sense, especially with the way that candle's looking. All right, so that's where you're at right now. Due to the fact that we had a big gap and then a big acceleration off of this area, I'd probably hold off on this one. Let's get some U.S. data first in here because the U.S. data obviously will affect the yen. Getting that yen movement for the overall stock market will help us with this one to establish whether or not this area is worth it again. Actually, if it does come back up, that zone is actually not a bad zone if we can get price to come back down again. It only briefly, I mean, it's only this far into that zone, which is not bad at all. Okay, so again, not a horrible zone, and you're only talking about a 7 pip risk zone. So rather small, not a bad little place to take it off of. Again, we definitely have some sellers in there as well. Okay, and again, this is all in the 4-hour. It shows you how much kind of energy has been sucked out of this one. Euro New Zealand. All right, so you guys can see where Euro New Zealand is. Euro New Zealand is up inside of a zone as well. Okay, now this one missed its entry here. I'll just go ahead and blow it up because we did not get the entry. There we go. There we go. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Again, it's been a lot of time here, so I'm cautious about this zone. And again, this is on a 1-hour. You guys can see that it's been a bunch of time here. And again, this is basically going over the weekend, or the 15th and 16th. So we're looking at Thursday, right? It's been a lot of time there. Not the ideal setup. The risk level on this one is, it's only about 14 pips. So it's not horrible. So again, it's one of those ones you could have taken. Absolutely, without a doubt, you have to respect this bottom line. It's hit there a few times. I do know that this is getting higher bottoms on the lower side. But again, without a doubt, you would have to respect that one. There is plenty of room, though. I mean, if you were setting this one up and you did take this trade, you can see your 3-to-1 is definitely in a good situation. I would not take this one for a 5-to-1. I think that's a bit risky. If you wanted to manually trail it, you could. But as far as taking this one to the downside, I would say you'd have to take this one. The 3-to-1 is a much better option. I think it's too risky trying to put a target on the other side of this zone, especially because we have higher lows being placed inside of that zone. Okay, and again, that's the New Zealand Aussie. I'm sorry, the Euro New Zealand on the 1-hour chart. Okay, looking at Euro Dollar. I don't mind blowing this one up. Boom, there we go. Let's see. This one is a downtrend setup on the daily. Okay, and again, you guys can see it here. You guys see how it just turned this color? We are actually in a situation where it's not a bad setup right now. Downtrend setup, 4-hour daily, and where we're pulling back into? Well, we're pulling back into a wick over wick. For those of you that are not accustomed to wick over wicks, you guys can see it right there. Kind of a similar situation to what we just had in the, what was it, the Euro Aussie? Only this one actually touched to the downside. So if you're looking for a Nadex trade, this is a nice little Nadex trade if you're looking for one. This one only has about 8 pips risk, so it's not even a whole lot of risk in here. Let me see, what did it bounce off of? Did it hit anything? Yeah, it actually did. All right, so it's not as clean as the other one. Okay, this one actually did bounce off of a zone. You guys can see here. Let's see. It bounced off of this zone right here. Okay, so downtrend setup, but it is coming off of a bit of a zone. This one's hard. Here's why. Okay, this move right here, where this thing started, led into all this. So obviously a lot of pressure there, right? This kind of pulled back from this zone. Looking to the left, if we go below this one and go over to here, right? If we go to the left, right? Look left here. You can see we have a bit of a zone right here. Again, not too bad, right? Push up, big drop down, and then boom, push up. Okay, that was a pretty nice kind of rally off that area because we had a rally, a base, and then a continued rally up and a retest. Okay, that retest has been wiped out, but this zone right here is not bad. The big question is, how much room do we have to run? We got about 50 pips to the downside, but the only thing that concerns me is, like I said, at about 2-to-1, we run into this, and we barely touch this zone, and then it's rallied all the way back up again. So it's a little bit of a squeeze situation. Not the best area. It is a great wick over wick. If this was just pulling back and not running into something as powerful, I mean, this is, I mean, what do we got here? We got a 170 pip move to the top side based off of this level. So it's definitely a level with a little bit of oomph in it. I don't know that that's something we want to mess with right now. It's unfortunate because this, I've really pulled back. It pulled down and came back. It looks just like the Euro Aussie, the one we just looked at. But this guy right here is kind of just, kind of messing it up for me. There's not much we can do about that one. And again, I'm not going any lower with this one because if we're talking about zones and wick over wicks only being 8 pips, there's no reason to drop even the lower time frames because it's small enough right here right now with the movement that we have on the charts. Euro Singapore. Oh, let's see. Yeah, we're not. I don't have to worry about anything. All right, so we're gonna skip that one. We're nothing here. So we don't have to worry about anything on that. Let's look at pound real quick. All right, so, all right, euro pound. I got all the pictures off this one that I needed. So, let's see. Oh, that one held. Okay, good. All right, let's see. So euro pound. Let's move this. Clean this up. That one. Take this off. All right, so as you can see, we've kind of pushed down. This one has moved minus what? Minus 21 pips in the last 24 hours. You guys can see that it's kind of pushed down a little bit. Has it really moved or has it really trended since last week? No, we had this one little spike back up over here. But since that time, we pulled right back down and have stopped. Okay. Obviously, I'm exaggerating out to kind of check the zones to see how, what type of explosiveness we had off of them. It's kind of more like this, and again, we haven't really moved too much. Looking at it on a daily, you can see right now, we have a great area up top. Again, on this spike, we barely tagged this one. And then again, here's a kind of bottom area where we spent a lot of time. So we're kind of at that like 60, 55, 60-ish on, in kind of stuck in the middle. I'd like to see us come back to one of these two sides before we get long or short this position. What you're looking for on this one is 140.16 on the bottom side, and you're looking at 147.87 on the top side. So again, it's quite a lot of movement, top or bottom. But again, right now, what are we doing? We got higher lows and we have lower highs, or even really just sideways highs at this point. Not really any trend, and again, we'd like to get into a trending market. 4 hour, kind of the same thing, right? I mean, this is really, really flat across. And on the lower time frames, as it is now, we're getting close to a demand area, but it's already been hit once, twice. This would be number 3 coming through this zone. Actually, we look back. This is another touch here. This is where it started. So you're talking about this is number 4. So we expect this to break, and then again, nice little zone down here at 141.17. So if you're looking for something more smaller time frame, it would be down here. But again, top side, it's the same thing. There's nothing high quality top or bottom. It's better just to walk by and skip those. Looking at dollar CAD, as you guys can see, dollar CAD is bouncing. Yeah, you can see dollar CAD came off of this zone down here. Again, rocking a hard place. This was one of the setups. Actually, was pound CAD one of them? Pound CAD would have been off of this zone right here, yeah, off this bottom side. Yeah, it did it off of here. Yeah, it's 15 pips. Yeah, so this one you were able to get the 3-1 if anybody took this one. Actually, it would have been actually there, right there. You could refine it slightly. Actually, you could refine this a little bit more, but you could have got one off of this one. But again, you'd still be in the trade if you didn't take your profit target. But right now, as you can see, zone, 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 zone. It's starting to consolidate back in, and we're just running out of room. So again, pound without a news right now just unfortunately doesn't have any oomph. It doesn't have any power to move anything. And even on the 15 minutes, you can see the 15 minutes is really getting boxed in from a level to a level and a level to a level, a level to a level. I mean, you guys can see it. They're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So really nothing we can trade on this one, even on the small time frame. We'll go over to pound dollar. Let's take this down. Bam. Okay. Kind of the same thing. Look at this. On the 30-minute, man, look at this block of red here. Okay. So here's the 4 hour. Okay. Is there any great levels in here? Not really. Not so much, right? There was your gap. It ended up spiking back down again. So you finally did get a bit of an entry in there. Really nothing, guys. I mean, look, we're really red, wedged top to bottom. Again, boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. So it's kind of consolidating in. Let's get some movement. See if we can get something nicer out of this one. Even on this one, you guys can see on the daily. Again, we've pushed down once, we pushed down twice, and actually this is not where it would be. It would be actually here. So again, this is kind of the third, fourth attempt into a zone here. It looks like it wants to fail and go lower. And again, I wouldn't be looking to go long off this. I'd be looking to go down and probably target this area down here at 128.02. I think that's a much better zone to be kind of taking a target off of. I'd use it as a target first and then potentially take it as a long on the daily. But I would not use this level again as far as a takeoff point. Okay. And I'm actually expecting to see a bit of dollar strength come back into the market and continue this go a bit lower. So pound Aussie. All right, so pound Aussie, we did not get our entry on this one. So I'll go ahead and blow this up. There we go. Let's bring this back up to the Here we go. So we had a little bit of a small zone earlier today. Okay, this is on the 4 hour. This is not a very large zone at all. We're talking about, I mean, it's 30, but again, for this pair, as you can see, it's not a very large one whatsoever. There would have been your 3-to-1 risk reward ratio trade based off that lower zone on the 4 hour. And again, it looks like a lot, but again, it just hit its 3-to-1 risk reward right now, which is perfect placement because it's right where we saw some sellers before. The 5-to-1 is actually right above at the very, very peak. As you guys can see, it's just above this push up. So it could potentially be something that you held, but again, here's your 3-to-1 risk reward ratio trade. Dropping that one down to an hourly. You guys can see here, it kind of looks a little bit funky. But again, here's what the blue zone is. It goes across. You can see that the entry on the 1 hour would have taken it off of this top target. So if you further refine this one and brought it down to this level here, actually, I think you would have gotten entry anyway. Let's see, if we would have taken this off of this here, I think you would have got this anyway. Yep. Yep, you still would have got your entry, even if you had refined it on a 1 hour. Again, you would have got your profit here. Actually, you would have hit your 5 to 1 on this one. So maybe that would have been the play on this one. Again, it's already passed right now. This top zone is not an entry, but you guys can see. Here, I'll just do it this way. Question is, would it have caught it? Oh, not that. Off. Turn this back on. Yep. What I was trying to say is I was using the back test to see if that would have been. So here's where we are currently, but I clicked the back test, and when I click back to here to see if that was a valid entry, it shows you that it was. Again, nice area, right? Nice explosion off to the top side. Again, not worried about this one as much. And then put your risk of reward tool on. Boom, there you go. 3 to 1, 5. I'm sorry, 3 to 1 here, 5 to 1 up top. It did spike above it. And again, that would have been fine to put your target right there. But the 3 to 1 is absolutely perfect, right in front of where the gap was on the 1 hour from Friday. Not bad. Pulled all the way down, grabbed the zone, pulled all the way back up, hit the gap, paused, and then went through. So perfect. This is an absolute perfect trade setup. Okay, absolutely perfect. And again, that one hit at, oops, boom. That one would have triggered at about 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so super early morning trigger. But again, looking at this, when did this one form? This was last week on the 16th. Okay, look, using the backtest tool, right? Let me take time and risk reward off. Using the backtest part of this, right? We know that this has been here the whole time. Could you go ahead and set and forget off that zone? Sure. Okay. And then once it hits it, obviously it erases the zone, but boom, off to the races. So that was a gorgeous one. That was really, really pretty, that one. Let's see the Swiss. Okay. Let's go up, cycle these. Let's go through, pull that. All right. So Swiss is, again, same situation. We have a zone. We've touched it once, touched it twice. It's respected at both times. We're putting in lower highs. Again, it looks like we're going to stay consolidated in this one. Neither of these two pairs right now has enough oomph to really go, really crazy. Put it this way, unless that Chinese virus jumps over and gets into Japan also at the same time, we don't have to worry about the Swiss coming back up again. I think everything is pretty much dying down. So unless the Umbrella Corporation suddenly comes out and goes public, I think we're good. I don't think this one will really move. I think we'll be rather slow on this pair. With that said, let's drop over to look at New Zealand. What we got on New Zealand? Right now on New Zealand CAD, let me see, what do we got scanner for this one? New Zealand CAD's downtrend setup on the daily. Again, right here, I see the downtrend setup, but is there a great zone? Is there really a trend right now on the daily? No, not so much. This is literally back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Really nothing really strong on that one. So again, if we can get back up here, I don't think that's bad, although I would not take that zone. I would have used this drop here. I probably would have used this base drop, this entry here, and you guys can see across. It would have been an actual entry here for you. Would not probably have used that. I would have used this. Yeah, this is actually 2 zones. There's 2 zones inside of this one area. But right now, again, there's no trend in it whatsoever. I'm only interested if it is trending, and it is not. Looking at New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar is currently downtrend setup. All right. I was checking the scanner to make sure that we have it here. So again, downtrend setup on the daily, which is true. Again, we just came off of that zone. It did give us a zone entry on that one. Yeah, no, I'm not going to. 4 hour, it's wedged in, and we're sitting inside of a demand zone. So yeah, I'm not looking to get short this position. We're in an area of buyer. So that is a no-go. Go to the next one. Pound yen. It's close, but it's not there yet. Same thing. Downtrend setup pulling up. We're on the 30-minute, but I don't really see any zones that are clear on this one. Not until we get up in this area. So again, not quite ready for anything. This is definitely a valid target right here. Down here, what is it, 72.33? If you do get any type of a short position, not a bad area. So you do have a potential to get into something like this. There is a potential trade setup in this area, potentially in there. Like I said, it did spike higher, but then based and then dropped quite fast. So again, that is an area that you should respect. And that is at 72.75 to 72.85. So you're talking about what? 8 pips, 7 pips in that one? 8 pips, sorry. 8 pips risk for a downside target. And again, not bad. The 3-1 and the 5-1 are both before we come down to this little demand zone, which is actually not bad. Demand zone was tested right here. Okay, so that's New Zealand yen. I have this pair up here, but this is not one of those pairs that I really, in all honesty, I don't look at it too much. New Zealand Swiss. None of these are showing me. They're just set up right now. This is just this like dark cloud right here, just whoa, to the downside. This is just, there's junk, there's nothing. This zone down here, we have a little test right here. That one off. You can set yourself an alert. If you know how to set yourself an alert, set yourself an alert over here at 63.58 would put you like up in this range right here. Then you can kind of check this area out if you're interested. Like I said, it barely touched and grazed the top of this zone, meaning this zone is definitely some valid buyers if you're looking to take something long, if you're looking for a trade. But again, New Zealand Swiss is not something I typically look at often. Looking at the dollar pairs, let's look at them real quick. Let's shrink this one. Man, that thing blew all the way through there. All right, so this has been a weird one. Let's see. Let's change this. I was in all kinds of drawing on this one. All right, so we're close to a 4-hour zone. Did not get entry, and in fact, I would probably use this upper area. I would have used this area here. Okay, this would have been an entry right there. And again, we would have actually, you guys can see the overlap. So yes, it would have been entered. I did not get entry into this one yet. Look, it is an uptrend setup on the daily and weekly, but again, an uptrend setup into an area of sellers. Not interested in going long on that one. Dropping it lower to the 4-hour time frame. You guys can see it. It formed a zone, but it just literally went straight across the top of this thing. I go back. I don't even think there's anything there. Oops. That's the other thing. Make sure that it lights up. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. When I clicked on it, I thought I clicked on it one time, but until it turns color, it doesn't, yeah, there's nothing in this one. So again, wedge between those two zones. Really, it's kind of, this one's a hard one to trade right now because, again, without the U.S. market open, there's nothing really, there's no driving force behind this one. So we'll see what we're able to do tomorrow. This big spike up could definitely give us the ability to kind of shoot and head right back to the downside. So that is kind of nice. But right now, again, we need some U.S. data before we can do much there. Dollar Swiss, nothing really great on dollar Swiss either. Yeah, I know we mentioned this last week. Again, waiting for this zone down here on the bottom side. So interesting enough, we do have a top side and a bottom side in this one now. So again, be cautious either way. Again, that's on the daily. I don't think we can see it on the 4-hour. You can see it on the daily. Okay, you're looking. That zone starts at 98, 95.86. Okay, to the downside. But again, wedged in between two zones. Not interested. Not enough there for us. Gotta get some meat in here. All right, let's change the template so we can get a view on this one. All right, so Daily Cat. Daily Cat's gonna have some movement tomorrow. Actually, I'm sorry, Wednesday. Right now, on a daily, this is consolidating. You can see the highs are coming lower, the lows are basically basing or going a bit higher. On the 4-hour, you guys can see how compact it is on the 4-hour. I'll stretch it to make it look really exciting, but even then I can't really make it exciting because it's just literally sideways. So what we need, I think tomorrow night will be the more important time for analysis because of the CAD news, and there's a lot of CAD news on Wednesday. Tomorrow there's nothing, so nothing for that one. And Euro Singapore, that thing's already pulling away. As you guys can see, okay, so here's the 30-minute chart. This thing not only bounced off the bottom side of this, but also the top side. I will say for those of you that are in the challenge, this pair has actually been doing really, really well. Even right now, it only has a spread of 2, which is not crazy. This was a nice little kind of piece here, and there's been many of these. I'm really, really surprised at this pair. Like I said, I never traded this pair before. We're talking about a 5-pip zone here. This one at the bottom is rather small. It's only about 4. Um, but definitely an interesting pair. All right. Yeah, that's where we kind of are. Nothing else that we have on the bigger time frames though. This coincides with here. 4-hour and daily. We're problem is on this one, we can't go low enough, right? We got that there, and that's basically it, right? Not much else clean besides that. So we got a ways to go to the bottom side. All right, so that's the U.S. pairs. Let's go over and look at oil real quick. So, go. There's your 15-minute. Sitting inside of a buying area. So interesting enough, let's see something here. Earlier today, this is what I was talking about. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Wait, is that the one? No, it's this one. Yeah. So when price is here, I was like, oh, we're about to hit a downtrend setup. I'm like, look at that, 15 minutes downtrend setup. That's pretty interesting. We ended up not getting it though. You can see it formed a new zone and ended up missing that zone by a little bit. Same situation and continued to push down. So it was a situation where we just could not get in. I was like, oh, this is what I was looking for when I actually sent that when price is here. I was like, that's not bad. Look at that. Oops. I was like, look at this one right here. Look at that. That's not bad. I'd like that. One here, that's good. But I didn't get the entry. It left without me. Look at that. And then this one you missed, and it continued to just drop. So close. Looking at this one on the 4-hour, you guys can see where we're at. Again, 4-hour, it's still recognizing that zone. Let's see. This is interesting. Back. I know you guys are oil junkies. So yeah, I'll be upset about that one later. So that's pretty interesting. Now again, it's already moved a bit too far now, but I don't know if you guys caught that or not. That huge spike down from a very, very nice base, and then a continued push to the downside on the daily. And then we rallied back up. We hit that daily, right here. And now we're pushing away from it. So that's kind of interesting. And again, where would the target be? Potentially down here back at 55.92. Okay. Oil this week is actually, what? Is it Friday? No, it's Thursday, right? Is it Thursday? Hold on. Yeah, it's on Thursday. So we have 2 days to get there. Interesting to see where we are, if we can drive down and if oil can get a bit bearish this week and bring us down to this bottom side. Now, again, we did miss this top side just slightly on the daily. I think we caught it on something else, though. Something else we marked it off, we caught it on. But yeah, looks like it's going to the same. Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, I double checked it. Thursday at 11. No, it's 11, right? Yeah, it's 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday. Right here. Bam. Right here. Crude oil, 11 a.m. Thursday. Okay. We're good there. All right, so that's just crude. Like I said, I wanted to kind of pull this in here. And again, if you're doing off of that zone, like I said, I don't mind this one at all. Right? Not opposed to that one at all. We'll leave that one there and we'll see. Like I said, I'm still testing this for oil. I'm still testing this platform for oil, but we will see. See how that works out. And again, the 5-to-1 is sitting right at that kind of that marked zone. So pretty interesting, right? Not too bad, right? All right, guys. So that's everything. Somebody in chat asked me to check something out. When I refreshed my browser, I lost the chat for it. So somebody wanted me to look at something. If it's still out there, go ahead and let me know what it is. Am I Central? No, I'm Eastern. I'm in Maryland. And I know that it's correct for me because look, it's telling me that it's 10:27 right now, which it's 10:29. So it's slightly off, but it's telling me that it's the right thing. All right. So if that person is already left for the night and they didn't want, it says noon on my FX calendar. No, I guess we will see. But I'll tell you this: if yours is at noon and mine is at 11, I'll make sure to tell you where to put your position. So when your news release comes out, I got nothing but love for you. If only that worked, right? All right. So, guys, make sure you go over to Stream Elements right now. Go ahead and hit the exclamation point ticket. Also, for those of you, again, if you guys haven't seen, you guys can get to it by clicking right below in the shop. Okay, if you guys want to get some merchandise, you guys can get them. I actually have to send this out. I meant to do it today, and I didn't do it. Eva wants a red one, so we're going to get her a red one. I'm not surprised. But I think, Ernest, you got the mouse pad, right? I think he got one of the mouse pads. I have the mug. I actually like the mug. The mug's, it's not the extra large mug. It's like the normal size mug. And I got a t-shirt too. The t-shirt's not bad, but I got white. Although I don't know. If they have a red one, maybe I'll get a red. Oh, they do have a red. Like I said, the red does not look bad. I got a white one. I don't know about the black. I was hoping they had a gray, but I don't know about that one. But yes, I'm definitely a big fan of this. I got the Heather. By the way, I got this one. This Heather Gray one, it looks good. I will say I like it. The white one, I have kids, I can't do. The blue one, I don't think we'll be able to see the logo, although it's big. But the red, that's what Eva wanted to get. So I'm sending Eva one of these this week. So the way you get to that, somebody asked me earlier, just click on, if you guys look on Twitch, click below Twitch, just hit the Shop Now button, and you're good to go. All right, so as far as Stream Elements goes, let's go over to the giveaway for the night. Here you go. All right, we got our participants in. I will give you guys another, 40 seconds when this says 128 for stream time. Then I will go ahead and close it down and give the pip chips away for tonight. Are you using VPN and maybe giving you a central IP address? Not me. I don't VPN. Yeah, mouse pad. Ernest has 2 mouse pads. He has 2. Lindo's out because he's like, I'm not going to win. I'm out. This is his new strategy. If I leave early, I could still win. I know I won't win. Negativity. How do you expect to win if you say you're going to lose? If you plan to lose, you will lose. That's how it works. All right, shutting it down. Winner of tonight's drawing is... Bam, look at that. From a man that says, I'm taking it every single night. There we go. The man gets it. He had a 9% chance of winning, but you know what? I guaranteed without a doubt, he believed. Ernest is like, I'm taking it all tonight. 2020, I'm taking it every night. And there you go. There's his first victory. I still think for the year so far, I think Pattern Trader is winning with... Actually, I think Pattern Trader and Vanessa are tied with 2 each. I think Pattern Trader's last. I think his 2 were in 2020. But I know Vanessa, she had it back-to-back, so she's golden. She's good to go right now. So let's go across. Let's get Ernest some chips. There we go. Give him his chips for the day. All right, guys. So with that being said, again, if you guys did not see it, where is it? Hold on, let me pull it up for you guys real quick. If you guys did not see it, no, I can't even find it. So much talk. So much talk. For those of you guys that did not see it, again, I know you guys sometimes catch Discord or you do not. The indicator is now up for sale, the one that I'm using that does the reds and the greens. And again, this is somewhat crude, but again, I'm supposedly going to be switching websites, so we will see. But again, it is up there. And remember that the trend state, again, I recommend getting both. The trend state is definitely helpful when you're looking for opportunities and kind of, your directions. I will actually turn the supply and demand indicator off and use trend state with its, by itself. To look for opportunities as well, because sometimes when the zones are being drawn for you, you draw in completely for it. But again, yes, this is an introductory price, just FYI, guys. It's not going to stay this cheap. I'm trying to reward you guys for being part of the community. So that's what it looks like, guys. That's what the page looks like, and I gave you some examples. It does work for oil. I found a couple different things in there as well. And again, you guys will see. We'll see how that one works out tonight. All right. So with that being said, you guys take care, and I will catch you tomorrow.